Hey guys, Technomentary with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to talk about the iPhone 8 and if it's still worth it and should you buy the iPhone 8 in 2022. Now, this phone has been around for some time and it's one of those phones that's going to be probably around. If you still have it or think you're buying one, we're going to break down all the things that you sort of need to know if you're actually considering it or considering using it or if you're thinking about upgrading. So the iPhone 8, if you don't know, was released back in September of 2017. So in last September, it hit the 4-year mark and just a little over 4-year now going into early 2022. So this phone has been around for a long time now. It has that original 4.7 inch, not to get confused with the 8 Plus, which does have that 5.5 inch display. This is the smaller size phone. You have that iconic home button and the top notch, and this is where the design is sort of outdated comparing starting with this is the last model, sort of where you had the home button besides the iPhone SE 2020 edition. So that's going to be very close and it's sort of hard to define. So if you were comparing this iPhone 8 and then the updated version is going to be that iPhone SE second one or 2020 edition, which we mentioned, which really you can't really tell a difference besides that the Apple logo is down here from the back, and there's really not much difference between these two phones. Now that's going to be one thing to keep in mind. This one that we're looking at is the 8 and the iPhone SE is the second edition of it. The other thing to note about this one build is that this is the first time Apple on the 8 lineup actually had wireless charging. The design and the body, as you can see here, both front and back are glass. So this glass back right here can crack if it's dropped, but what it allows you to do is that you can lay it on a wireless charging pad and now charge wirelessly. Also, along with some of the other body features of the 8 that's notable is that it is water resistant. It is IP67 water rated, so you could pretty much, if it's not cracked or anything, go underwater about 1 meter for 30 minutes. Now, would we recommend doing it? Probably not. It's one of the lesser ones considering some of the newer phones which are IP68 rated and can go a lot more depth in water. But this phone, other thing to note is that stereo grade speaker sound system. So the sounds are really phenomenal, but because it is a small phone, it doesn't output as much of sound as we like it to. So that's going to be another thing to note. The other thing on this phone is going to be in terms of storage side. So if you're looking at this one, it starts at 64 gig as the base model. Now you can go up all the way to 256 gig, but there is also the one in the middle which is going to be 128 gig. So storage wise, decently sized for back at this time, but 64 gig nowadays in 2022 doesn't seem like a lot considering the newer phones that start with 128 gig. Sort of the 64 base model isn't quite as much. Now this phone, when it's released, the price was $699. Now if you look at today's price, it's going to be under $200 if you buy it pre-owned, because it's kind of hard to get it brand new, and if you do get it brand new, you might be able to get it from a carrier that still has it or Amazon or eBay, which we're going to link you guys down below in the description section. In terms of color choices for the iPhone 8, you get 3 different colors. You got the gold here, you got the product red, which is going to be very similar to the SE2, and then you have the space gray edition. So not a lot going in for the color, but the one thing about the iPhone 8, it's going to be that unique design body to it. Again, very lightweight because this is a 4-inch display. The other thing about the iPhone 8 does come with that A11 Bionic chip and about 2 gigs of RAM. So multitask wise, it's not going to be the greatest, but it is still a powerful device. And when it came out, Apple again claimed to have one of the fastest chip on any smart device out there. Again, really big. Now when it comes to battery, it's going to be really important to discuss this battery life on the iPhone 8. So the iPhone 8 battery, it's not quite big. It's a 1821 mAh battery. Now comparing that to the newer iPhone that you're going to compare, like iPhone 13 lineup, which has close to 3000 mAh, almost half of this. So if we look at video playback, you get around 13 hours of video playback on the iPhone 8. So not a lot for the battery size, but again, that was 4 years ago when 1800 mAh seems to be pretty good, but nowadays it doesn't seem like a lot going on. Now, the other aspect when you look at iPhone, it's going to be the camera here. So the camera on this phone, of course, you can take really good photos and videos. You can also record up to 4K 60 frames per second. Unfortunately, the regular 8 model does not have portrait mode like the iPhone 8 Plus that, but nonetheless the camera for its size is good. You have one single 12 megapixel camera, and then if you look in the front, you have 7 megapixel camera compared to now newer phones which have 12 megapixel cameras on the front. So that's kind of a comparison of it. Now really, let's talk about, is the iPhone 8 really worth it in 2022? Again, for the price of it, if you're looking to buy a cheap phone simply to do things like calling and texting, light browsing, light gaming, it is worth it still in 2022. Because the other thing about the iPhone 8 is that we're hoping that because it is running on iOS 15, it's going to be able to get the next update later in the year. iOS 16 most likely will be supported because the iPhone 6s, which we know that it is a phone that was over 5 years or so and still got the iOS 15 update, just like the iPhone 8 did here. So expect another year. So this year it's gonna get the update, which means another year of life for this phone. The other thing to mention about this phone is that it's very lightweight and small, and you got that home button. Again, a lot of people miss that home button because with the Face ID nowadays, it's tough, especially if you have a covering on your face, and when you go outside, you're constantly entering your passcode in or moving your mask down. Again, that's going to be one thing to note about the iPhone. Now, why would you not consider iPhone? It's not really worth it for you. Is that if you're really looking to have a phone to last a couple more years, probably not the phone to go to, because it's to be honest, this year is probably the last year the iPhone 8 is really going to be good in terms of performance. Come next year, it will still work, it just won't give you that much power that you need it to, and something to keep in mind. But nonetheless, if you're really considering iPhone 8 versus the iPhone just a little bit more upgrade, you could probably score the iPhone SE for maybe $100 or so more. If you look around for the SE, which again, the SE was released at a $400 price point, and right now the SE you can get it somewhere between $250 to $300, and some carriers are giving it away for free, which again, if you look at between these two phones, they're pretty much identical phone, but the iPhone SE here has an updated chip. Again, it was released in 2020 of April, so you have an updated chip, and this phone itself will definitely last for another 3 to 4 years, no doubt. And it sort of has the same features like the home button. You got the same thing going on for it, again with the faster chip and updated hardware as well. So that kind of pretty much brings us to our point. Is the iPhone SE good, or the iPhone 8? Probably the SE over it, but nonetheless, if you have the 8 and you continue to use it this year, it's going to be completely fine for you to it. But if you're thinking of looking between a cheaper phone that gets you pretty much the same thing that you would want to get on an 8, probably the SE here goes about it. So there you go, guys, for our review. Want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on the iPhone 8? Leave a comment in the comment section if you have experience using it, and also want to hear from you what next video you guys want to watch around, if it's worth it or not in 2022. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.